You know what time it is. It's time to talk Knicks. I'm trying different banners, different things, because I also thought this would be better for the hair. I don't think it's better for the hair. Of course, we want to talk about the New York Knickerbockers. We want to talk about, well, maybe we don't want to talk about the Knickerbockers. Maybe we don't want to talk about what they did to Tom Thibodeau. I was mentioning to James. Oh, there we go. There's better hair. I was mentioning to James right before the start of the Pacers series that if they didn't make it to the championship, the finals, the Tibbs was going to be gone. I was hoping I was going to be wrong with that, but evidently it turned out to be right. We're going to see what the Knicks do. We got to make it plain. We got to make it simple. That's what the New York Giants need to do with this defense. They have to make it plain. They have to make it simple. Sorry, I'm chewing on a cough drop. You have the legs. Shane Bowen came out, basically said a couple days ago that he's going to work within the system. He's going to play to the player's strengths. I mean, is that really the direction he's going to go? Or is that just preseason or post or pre-training camp talk? Here we go. Maybe I'll go a little bit higher on there. I don't know. Because you look at this team, you look at the way this defense is constructed, you get an idea, you get a thought process of what they're going to do or what they're potentially going to do. The picture on the thumbnail, I think, kind of wraps it up, kind of wraps a quandary into a riddle. Can these guys all play on the field at the same time? Will they have the ability to generate a pass rush without sacrificing the necessary needs to stop the run? Giants finished 29th in the run against run last year, giving up over 2,000 yards rushing. I think 19 rushing touchdowns. So, and the inability to stop everyone talks about the fact, or everyone likes to bring up the fact that, especially with Daniel Jones, that the offense wasn't on the field long enough to give the defense a breather, to give the defense a blow.
That's what she said.
Sorry, that wasn't they just weren't on the field long enough. I mean, didn't get off the field fast enough. But here's the problem with this. How many times did that defense give up big third downs? How many times did that defense go into second and short, and then all of a sudden see another run off tackle? It wasn't just the inability of the offense to stay on the field that was a problem. It was the inability of the defense to get off the field, which was also another huge issue. And we don't like to talk about that because in Giant lore, going back to the likes of Sam Huff, Lawrence Taylor, Carson Banks and Reasons, even Brian Kelly, even Bradley Van Pelt, we were always defense. They always talk about the echoes of the Polo Grounds as the chant of defense was always ringing through the rafters. And the problem is this. Can the Giants find that magic again? You have three defensive ends that are almost identical. You want to talk about players that could potentially be interchangeable? You have three undersized defensive ends who neither of them can play linebacker. You want to talk about Abdul Carter going to play the quasi linebacker role that they're going to have him all over the field? I'm always going to use this one stat. You could talk about all of his tackles for losses, and we also talked about the fact that you need to remember when you have a college statistician that is tracking stats, they count a tackle as a loss as a sack as well. So you can have a sack and it'll still be counted as a tackle for a loss. So take that total and cut it in half, basically. But you have a guy, and I'm going to give you one stat like we said it before over and over again. The reason why Abdul Carter is not going to play linebacker in this league is 25.7%. That is his missed tackle percentage, his second year at Penn State as an off-the-ball linebacker. That's a problem. That's an issue. You have Kayvon Thibodeau. Everyone talks about how everyone got mad at me because I say, you know what? Trade Kayvon Thibodeau for Kyle Pitts straight up. They're both I think they're both overvalued and underutilized. Kyle Pitts and Kayvon both have issues in reference to staying on the field. They both have issues with consistency. So maybe a change of scenery for both regards may work out at the end. But we don't want to talk about that because of the fact that we need to have this defense. We need to have this mindset. We can never sit here and say that we made a mistake at 5-7 because, we've said it before. Who could really screw up 5-7? We don't want to talk about screwing up 5-7 from 3 years ago. So you're not going to put Kayvon Thibodeau at a linebacker position because we have seen what happens when you allow Kayvon Thibodeau to be a part of that attacking run style defense. He gets blocked by Jalen Hurts. Teams run at Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns for a reason. There's a reason why they don't run. First of all, there's a reason why they don't run into the middle of the field. Its name is Dexter Lawrence. But there is a reason why they run at Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, because neither of them excel at playing the run. Plain and simple. They just don't. Hold on, I gotta send a text. Hold on. Neither of them can do that one aspect. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna send a text message. Hold on. I'll send one to my kid too. Hold on. Everyone just relax. I got text messages I gotta send. There we go. Okay, hold on. So where was I? Oh yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau. Let's get to a couple people in the chat though first. But that's the reason why they run it. That's the reason why they run directly at the likes of Brian Burns and of course Kayvon Thibodeau. Hit that like button. Say James. James wants. Oh, cool. That's what's having an aura looks like. This is the aura. We're having an aura. Having an aura day. We got Jay Ferris coming in with a big old blue heart. Big Blue for Life says, "Let's go Giants." Ryan's Big Blue podcast. You don't know Ryan? He's an up and coming young podcaster, so make sure you go out and give Ryan a like and give him a thumbs up and give him a subscribe as well. We got Daniel Barry Sports Highlights says, "Hello, happy Tuesday, everyone." Ryan also says, "I have a mixed feeling on the fire of Thibodeau." I got a mixed feeling too. Jay says, "Kyle Pitts is a bum. At least Kayvon is solid and getting better." What is Kayvon Thibodeau getting better about, Jay? You can disparage Kyle Pitts all you want. Outside of 2023, where Kayvon, and I love this. I want to point this out about Kayvon Thibodeau because he was listed as an outside linebacker in 2023. Yes, he had 11.5 sacks, but I believe we did it where 7.5 of them came in 3 games. And then you look at him and think to yourself, well, you know what? He had 50 tackles, which is pretty bad if you're an outside linebacker playing in 17 games. But here's the stat that gets me always with Kayvon Thibodeau. Solo tackles, 26. Assist, 24. So we had 2 more solo tackles than he did assists. Last year in his 12 games, 14 solo, 14 assists. We've said that before a billion times. As a former defensive player, I will tell you this. An assist, a lot of times, is a pile-on stat. You jump on the pile in some regards to some people scoring, you get an assist. You as an outside linebacker, you want to have at least a third more, if not more than that, solo tackles than assists, which means you are leading the point of attack. So you would rather see Kayvon Thibodeau, if he's got a total of 50 tackles, you'd rather see him have maybe 35 or 40 of those solo tackles and then the rest assists. So that was the Tay Crowder scenario years ago. And I kept trying to explain to people when they say, oh, Tay Crowder had 140 tackles or whatever it was. And I kept looking at him and said, yes, but he had more assists than he had solo tackles, which means he's not leading the point of attack. And that's what you need to have as a defensive end or an outside linebacker. You need to have the point of attack. Your ability just to come in at the end to get an assist does nothing for me. Take a look at the NASCAR package when we had JPP and Matthias Kiwanuka, who had both at 80 plus tackles. And they each had at least 25 to 30% more solo tackles than they did assists. Why? Because they were leading the point of attack. You don't lead the point of attack. You are leading from behind. So to say that Kayvon Thibodeau has shown a progression, I have not seen it yet. Haven't seen it yet. At least in his first NFL season, he had 33 solo tackles and 16 assists is what you should have as a starting linebacker or defensive end. That's where your stat line should look. Not 14-14, not 26-24. Kyle Pitts can at least say he had a 1,000-yard season. Kyle Pitts can at least say he had an injury. Kyle Pitts can at least say that he has the ability to stretch the field if he has a quarterback. Everyone tells me about all these, how well Kayvon Thibodeau's progressed last year. I didn't see it. I was at every fucking game. I saw a guy that dogged it a lot, who was the trailer on a lot of plays, and who basically was at the second level trying to make a tackle or trying to sit there. So we got three Yannick Ngakoue's. Yannick Ngakoue. I love when Yannick Ngakoue was a free agent initially, and he posted the thing with Lawrence Taylor, and everyone's like, "Ooh, he's coming here." And then then everyone missed it. He posted other pictures of Baltimore Ravens and everything else. But yeah, in some ways you do have Yannick Ngakoue. That's why Jacksonville let him go. That's when Jacksonville was like, we're going to let Yannick Ngakoue go. We don't need him. We don't need a guy that all he can do is generate a pass rush at times. Chris said, stop texting me while you're on the live stream. Good evening, Tim. Well, Chris, how else am I going to get a hold of you? I got to text you. Oh, what do we got here? Jay Ferris says, Ryan is doing some nice stuff. Appreciate you guys. Ryan is back in the house. Chris says, my issue with trading Kayvon for Pitts is this: the Giants have no idea how to use a tight end. Now, if you want to use that as a scenario for not trading for Kyle Pitts, I actually agree with that. Because the New York Giants and Brian Daboll have no fucking clue how to use a tight end. That is 100% accurate. And it hasn't just been with Brian Daboll. It's going back to Joe Judge. It's going back to Pat Shurmur. You could say that maybe it's because they didn't have a quality tight end, but they don't know how to use a tight end. You're 100% right. They have no thought process or how to use a skilled position. Kyle Pitts, to me, is this. Yes, he may only be a one-year rental, but so is Darren Waller. But everyone forgets that Darren Waller was a one-year rental, especially when we gave him the $10 million guaranteed. Kyle Pitts may only be that. But he is a guy that can stretch the middle of the field. He is a guy that could take the pressure off the guy over there wearing number 1. He is a guy that you may need to take that safety and bring him over and not have double coverage on Malik Neighbors. He is a guy that can open up the center of the field for the running game. He's not going to give you much as a pass blocker. He is a bigger version of Evan Engram, but I always said before, he's an Evan Engram. But to your point, you are 100% right. The Giants have no fucking clue how to use a tight end. It's almost like they remember, well, we had Howard Cross, but he just kind of blocked. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use that. Jeff Ballard's out there somewhere. Caden Smith's out there somewhere. Marcellus Bennett's out there somewhere. Where's the black unicorn when we need him? You want to produce a quality running game while at the same time utilizing the offensive weapon you took at 3 last year. Getting yourself a high quality tight end makes all the sense in the world. Doesn't have to be Kyle Pitts, but getting a guy that can get you 50 to 60 receptions and stretch the field and become a second viable option outside of throwing to number 1 497 times, that makes sense. But we don't want to make sense. Former defensive player, the game has changed since the leather helmets, Tim. No, it hasn't. That's the thing that makes me laugh. No, it hasn't. The game is still played on a 100-yard field. The game is still to stop the other team from scoring. And I know you're being sarcastic, so I don't take offense. And we didn't play with leather helmets. We did play with helmets without the face masks. But nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from the late 80s, early 90s when I played. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed at all. It's still the same game. And the same game is to prevent the other team from scoring and to score yourself. That's it. They forced the shit out of the ball to Pitts his rookie season. Yeah. And they should have. And I love it when people bring that up. I'm not making fun of you, Jay, but they did the same thing with Malik Neighbors. But for some reason, that was brilliant. Kyle Pitts last season, still with an indecisive quarterback situation, still played in 17 games, had 47 receptions for 600 yards, almost 13 yards a carry, 30 yards catch, and 4 touchdowns. Think about that. He still had he actually had a catch percentage of 63.5%. And he was, I love this. He was targeted 8.5 yards downfield. Malik Neighbors is Malik Neighbors was actually at one point in time was under 5 yards downfield. So he's getting downfield. Even when he had a bad season in 23, he still had 53 receptions for 667 yards and 3 touchdowns. Even when he was injured, he still had 29 and 356 for 12.7 yards. We would kill for that right now. I know as a Giant fan, I would kill for that. He's had long receptions of 61 and 52 yards. He had a 52-yard reception for a touchdown last year. People make Kyle Pitts out to be a bum. He's not what people thought he was going to be, because I never liked him coming out of college. I said the same thing in Florida State. It reminds me of Florida. When it came out of Florida, it reminds me of Percy Harvin. He's a Florida product, and you don't take a tight end at 4. You don't take a tight end defensive tackle or a safety within the top 10, because it's not positional value. But he still has got 196 catches for 2,651 yards and 10 touchdowns in 55 games. Those are numbers as Giant fans we haven't seen from a tight end in Lord knows how long. When you miss the days of Caden Smith, my hair looks great. But when you miss the days of Caden Smith, that's when you know you have a problem. James says, kind of like we did with Neighbors. That's exactly what we did with Neighbors. We force-fed him the ball. But when another team does it, that's a bad son. I love it. I'm not making fun of you again, Jay. But like I said, another team does it. Oh, that's just stupid football. We do it. Well, that's the best play we got. I don't trust Maryland players. Why not? Why not? What are you saying? Not saying nothing. Jay Vera says, did you bust out the Aquanet hairspray today, Tim? No, actually I didn't. I was in the gym and I didn't take a shower yet. So this is actually, with the hairspray that I use, if you wet it, it reactivates it. James says, I have to be honest, I was actually shocked that Jones didn't throw the tight end more while he was here. I'm actually kind of shocked about that. Well, because you would figure Jones averaged like off the line 3.5 yards a throw. So you would think if you're throwing that close to the line, you throw maybe once in a while to the tight end. Try something different. And we use Evan Engram horribly. But if he comes to Giants, I'll be all in. Evan Engram, like I said, Evan Engram gets all the crap in the world. But Evan Engram, his second season in Jacksonville, had the second most receptions by a tight end in a single season in NFL history. Evan Engram, all of a sudden, Evan Engram goes somewhere and all of a sudden learns how to catch the ball. What the fuck is that all about? Could there have been a reason he had such horrid stats with the Giants? Could there have been an issue in reference to how he was used? Listen, Evan Engram did not help himself with all the drops. No, he did not help himself whatsoever. I believe he's over with the Denver Broncos now. But even in a bad season with Evan Engram, only playing in 9 games, he had 47 receptions for 367 yards. And then the year prior, like I said, he had 114 receptions and 4 touchdowns. I love his Jacksonville numbers. Now, remember this. In New York, he played 5 years, Evan Engram. Okay? This is the beauty of Daniel Jones. He played 5 years. He played in 65 games, hit 2,828 yards and 16 touchdowns. He only plays in 42 games. Has over 2,094 yards and 9 touchdowns in Jacksonville and only 3 years. And he didn't even play the full 3 years. Coughlin chased off Shockey, Fossil, was the last coach to utilize a tight end. You're right. Coughlin and Shockey were like ice and gasoline and fire against ice and gasoline and fire. They just didn't mix. They did not mesh well together. But Shockey, like I said, Shockey, he only missed out on the Super Bowl vis-a-vis doing the injury, and then he was kind of a knucklehead about it. So, I mean, Danny says, "Oh shit, what's up, everyone? Good evening." Yeah, I thought I would jump on the mic for like an hour or so. Jay also says Pitts did have 2 years of Riddler and Mariota. Worst possible quarterback play to his credit. That's what I'm saying, Jay. We talk about how how Malik Neighbors with the right quarterback would have like 2,000 yards. But you're right. He played with the Riddler and Mariota and a really bad Kirk Cousins and a rookie. That's the last couple of years. You have Russell Wilson. You watch Russell Wilson dropping all the dimes in the OTAs. Look at that dime. If I had a quarter, I would need a nickel because that's the kind of dime it was, because that was a 30-cent dime. Let's do it, though, when there's a rush. Let's do it when the line's collapsing. Let's just do stuff like that. I mean whatever. Just but with the right quarterback, if you think Russell Wilson's the guy, you think if you wanted to play Jackson Dart, imagine having 2 safety nets and Wan'Dale Robinson 3 yards in a cloud of dust and Kyle Pitts in the middle of the field, 4 yards off the line. Imagine that. Imagine that philosophy. It's like, I don't understand why, since Jerry Reese, we have ignored, it's actually a little before Jerry Reese, we started ignoring the linebacker position, but now we're ignoring the tight end. And I don't know why, because you see some of the great tight ends in this league. You look at the kid over in Vegas, he's more of a tight end / wide receiver, but we just don't do that. And I don't get why. Logic's Fine says, Big Tim, I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. My best to you and your family. Hope everyone is having a blessed evening. We're having a good evening. We're having a very good evening. Jay says, the hair is good. The hair is perfect. I miss Shockey and Martellus Bennett. Oh, I missed the one season that we had with Bennett. I was so upset when we let him go. And he had some monster seasons after he left the Giants. And I don't think people give him credit for that. That he also won a Super Bowl with New England. I mean, but he had that one season because he'd spent those 3 years in Chicago. But it was the second season with Chicago. We had over 900 yards. Then he had 700 yards in that Super Bowl win with New England. He is probably, like I said, he had 55 receptions for over 600 yards and 5 touchdowns with us in 2012. One season removed, after he came over from Dallas. He's a guy that really took off a little bit and had a good 4 or 5 year spurt after he left the Giants. UVA fans, lol, but also don't have the best track record. No, you're right. You're not wrong, Dan. Jay Ferris says they wanted and tried to use Waller. Yeah, and then Daniel Jones almost got fucking Waller killed. I feel bad for Darren Waller. I feel bad for the Waller. Because I heard his music. Oh, what's up, David? Shockingly, we made the playoffs. I don't know, but this season has all the makings of being weird. This season kind of does with the Giants. It's one of these seasons that you think that there's no way in hell, or Hades, or heck, whatever you want to say. There's no way in hell that this team could be a playoff team. You look at the roster, you look at the schedule, and you just kind of look at everything and go, this can't be good. This does. I don't think this is going to be good. But then you kind of think about it a little bit more, and you're like, there is some credence to the fact that this roster, if Washington takes a step back, and if Dallas isn't Dallas, Philadelphia is going to be Philadelphia, but you never know with the Super Bowl hangover. But if you look at this, the way this is set up, if you can survive the first 6 weeks and come out 3-3, Kareem, I was just thinking of you, man. I was literally just thinking of you yesterday saying, I was telling my wife, I said, where the hell is he? I said, he's probably working. Plus, we always have streams at weird fucking hours. But if you survive, how you doing, my friend? You doing well? If you survive the first 6 weeks, if you can come out of the first 6 weeks 3-3 as a Giants, I think the rest is a crapshoot. I think the rest could literally sway you in a different direction. But you have to survive. It's like fighting young Mike Tyson. If you can survive the first 3 rounds, the fury that was young Mike Tyson before the Buster Douglas fight, you can survive that, you have a chance because he's going to run out of gas. Now, the thing is, you have some, like I said, you have 3-3. If you come out in those division, if you can at least come out 1-2 in those divisional games, so it's just 1 win out of 3. You could be all right. You could make an interesting argument that the Giants could head to a certain direction. What about Brian Burns? Where's my? You don't get a crown because I don't even know what the hell the crowns are for anymore. I forget, but you don't get a crown. No crown for you. James says, Kareem, yeah, my brother. You know, I don't know where he went. Strider, what's up? Strider has the ball. Let's call the ball. Strider says, Giant Nation, let's ride. Let's bring it out, guys. Come on, bring it out strong today. I'm bored. Yeah, me too. Phil says, got your hair did. Looking good, my man. This is, wait a minute. This is a week into my hair. This is a week into my haircut. See, the problem with my hair is people are like, why do you always wear a hat? Because my hair grows like a weed. So there are days, that I'm literally like, I'm worried about putting a hat on them. The hat's going to be this high up. So, so this Thursday will be a week. I got to trim it up on the sides though. But thank you, Phil. Strider says, great hair, Tim. Danny says, the kid in Arizona is a beast. We were talking about the Skattebo. I worry about the Skattebo. This Sunday, Truckosaurus. This Sunday, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say who it's going to be yet. But this Sunday stream, we are going to have a former NFL running back, pretty well-known NFL running back on the stream on Sunday. Same time, 10 a.m. He'll be on, I think, at 10:15. And we're gonna talk about the Skattebo. We're gonna talk about the Skattebo and what the Skattebo might be able to do. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll give you more details probably like on Friday. But like I said, he's pretty well-known former NFL running back, is going to be on Sunday at about 10:15. So make sure everyone stay tuned for that. Strider says, I miss Shockey so damn much. I miss a tight end that's not afraid to put his head down and run over some dudes. It would be nice. I miss Kevin Boss. Hell, I miss Jake Ballard. You know, I miss Larry Donnell. I miss anyone. So glad the Giants didn't steal from Mike Burrs. Yeah, I didn't think he was coming over to the Birds. I don't think he was coming over. Phil says Shockey had more heart and toughness than any one of the Giants. Maybe Skattebo can be the next Shockey. No one else is even close. The problem is with Shockey, and I know you're not making a Shockey Skattebo comparison. Shockey was a big man. Shockey was strong. Shockey can run over people. Skattebo is he's not the biggest guy in the world. I laugh because Cam Skattebo is about the size of Eric Gray. And we've said this before with Eric Gray, and which is going to be the case with Cam Skattebo because they're about the same height. That's me and Eric Gray. Now, which one's the NFL running back? Which one is it? Which one's the NFL running back? And that's about Cam Skattebo size. So the pinball running style may not work as well in college than it does with the pros. I'm not saying that it's not going to. I'm just saying that it's gonna be interesting, Phil. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. Feel like Waller was completely checked out once he got to the Giants. He checked out after that play against the Panthers. We've talked about that. He checked out mightily then when Daniel Jones almost got him decapitated. The only drive the offense played the entire preseason. That's when he checked out. You saw it because I laughed because I was at that game and I'm like, oh my God, he almost got. It's like he almost got Waller killed in the preseason. He checked out long, and I do agree. I think he checked out long before that because you got to remember he was still almost 2 seasons removed from his top season, and he had hamstring issues the entire time. And I love it because they were like, well, Joe Shane really got to pull the wool over their eyes. I'm like, no, he really didn't. The Raiders got us to take on $10 million and gave us assets to do it. James says, didn't we try to resurrect the mummy of Kyle Rudolph? Remember Kyle Rudolph? I remember from Minnesota when he was a good player. I remember when we signed him, I told everybody he was washed up. And what, he had 2 receptions? And I love it because people kept telling me, Tim, you don't know nothing about football. No, I could see when a guy was washed up. He was washed up his last year in Minnesota. And I'm not trying to be rude about it because of the fact that sometimes you just don't have it anymore. And you could see. What's up, Chris? What does Chris have to say? Ignoring the tight end, Bellinger, Waller, Johnson, and FLR. 4 tight ends in 4 years. Don't forget Mannertz, Cager, and stuff. Okay. That's still ignoring the tight ends outside of Waller. Theo Johnson, anyone that follows Penn State will tell you that Theo Johnson, all world talent. We said it before. It's the Crash Durham, Nuke LaLoosh, $1 million arm, 2-cent head. That's Theo Johnson. Go back to talk to anyone at Penn State. They'll tell you the same thing. He had all the talent in the world. He just can't put it together because some people say he's lazy. And you also take a guy with the 7th round pick. That's not securing a tight end. Waller was the big, huge mistake. Bellinger should be gone. Bellinger, what? We're in year 4. We're in year 4 of the Bellinger experiment. Unless he's going for Mr. Adonis, he's bulking up pretty nice. But bulk does not equal or equate to strength. Mr. James, stop. Jay says, it's interesting. Good tight ends with physical profiles can play into the 30s, although he had more thought he had more in the tank. You could see if you watch his last season in Minnesota, Kyle Rudolph, you could see that he was never the same player. That it's not that he just lost a step. He just looked different. And you watch them play and you're like, okay, if he could find something, maybe he could be, a second or a third tight end. But he just wasn't there. I mean, and it's nothing wrong with that. You just sometimes you run into, you run into a situation where your body can no longer provide the same type of, nuances that you did before. I mean, that's what I don't understand with people. If you look at the last season, he had 12 games, only 28 receptions for only 300 yards. I mean, years prior, he had 600 yards, 500 yards, 800 yards, 400 yards. So he was no longer that guy. He was no longer that guy that was going to be that main target that you needed him to be, or that safety valve. Denny says, another injury-prone tight end. Oh, my God. Well, you only had 2 ACLs in 2 years. I mean, come on. Come on. Mummy, that's brutal. I call what we got tight end a corpse. What's up, Trenton? Trenton, the Eagle fan, coming in strong. Trenton, great being on the show with y'all last week. Trenton came on. Trenton, the Eagle fan, came on Sunday. We really appreciated his insight and his knowledge. And make sure you hit the like button, because I always have to say hit the like button. Came on with a lot of insight and knowledge, which was a lot of fun. So maybe we'll have some other Eagle fans on. James says, I'm just trying to say he was past his prime. Kyle Rudolph was beyond past his prime. That's not even a question. Michael, what's up, brother? Tibbs is inconsistent and seems like every time we play a team, that's the thing. Tibbs feasts. We're going to drop it back to a Nick analogy. The Knicks feasted on the bad teams on the NBA. You have the likes of Kayvon Thibodeau, who does the same thing. He feasted on the bad offensive lines. As soon as he ran up against an NFL quality tackle, Kayvon Thibodeau did not excel. Cream says, work has been brutal and busy. I haven't been able to catch the midday streams. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go then. Oh, I said, I think he's talking about Trey McBride, the tight end from the Cardinals. Oh, okay. Oh, the four. You're right. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan coming and saving me. That's what he's there for. He's replacing Zach Attack. This fan base thinks Skattebo is John Riggins already. Put away the anointing oils. Yeah, he's not John Riggins. I saw John. Yes. I am old with great hair. I saw John Riggins play. I didn't see him play with the Jets. Some with the Redskins, not the Jets. But no, John Riggins was a different breed. He was a different breed. Trenton, we know you're a Skattebo fan. We know that. And like I said, Skattebo could come in and shock everyone. But when you run a 4.7 and your game is predicated on almost the old I4 and I power back type of style of running, and people want to say he has a little wiggle. Little wiggle doesn't cut. Eric Gray has a little wiggle. But I think Eric Gray is faster than Cam Skattebo, but Eric Gray does not have any acceleration. You watch Eric Gray, and some people think, well, he's just, when he takes a snap, he's like, well, he's being patient. No, I don't think he's being patient. I just think he has no acceleration. And I worry that Cam Skattebo is going to fall into that same category. And I've said it before, I'm worried that he's going to go into the middle of the line and disappear. That he's going to run into Jalen Carter, and then you're going to be like, where's Cam Skattebo? He didn't come back out. But we have to wait and see. The kid hasn't even taken a preseason snap yet. But people are like, no, James Wright. People are calling him John Riggins. Or some people say, John Riggins Low, that's a good one. Danny says, why can't we have someone like that? John Riggins? Gary Brightwell. Gary Brightwell got a contract. Gary Brightwell, at least Gary Brightwell's actually still in the league. You aspire Cam Skattebo to be Wayne Gallman. Because neither of them has a second gear. And Wayne Gallman, like I said, you go back to that Seattle game where he got pulled down from behind. It's like nobody's got a second. He doesn't have a second gear. Wayne Gallman hasn't been in the league since 2021. He rushed for 682 yards for the Giants back in 2020 when he replaced Saquon Barkley. He's Wayne Gallman. He's New Orleans Darkwa. And that's what we hope that, potentially that's what we hope we get. He's got potential in short yard situations. You don't think they're going to key on Skattebo when he's in the game? Skattebo catches the ball well. Cam Skattebo catches the ball extremely well. But you don't think that the league is going to figure out he's basically a 2-down back? Because you need some kind of yak off the catch as a 3rd-down back, going back to the likes of Tony Galbraith and Dave Meggett. So you think that they're not going to know he's a 2-down back or a short yardage back? He's not Brandon Jacobs. Brandon Jacobs, you knew at the goal line when Brandon Jacobs came in, he was going to run the ball because he was built like a fucking house and had that burst and had that speed. That's like when people compare him to Marshawn Lynch. People forget in Buffalo, coming out of college from California, Marshawn Lynch had a burst. Marshawn Lynch had speed. He was a bruising back, and he still had some of that speed in Seattle. He was a bruising back, but he had speed to go with it. He had a second gear, which made him dangerous when he got into the secondary. When you see a freight train running at you at 120 miles an hour, that's kind of hard to stop. What's up? Everything's doing good. We're all good here. We're all having a good time. Phil says, one more thing on Shockey. He came in alongside Dan Campbell, and it was Campbell who helped him learn to block to be a badass. Dan Campbell was a good tight end for the Giants. Doesn't get as much credit as the tight end for the Giants, but he doesn't. He actually was good. I'm liking the format. Got my XP up. I don't know what the fuck these XP things are. I don't know how to turn it on. I don't know how to turn it off. I don't know how it works. I really don't. I like Cam too. I like Cam because of the fact that he's got some attitude. He's got a little nasty in him. But the problem is this. We've had guys with a little bit of attitude, a little bit of nasty, going back to Will Hernandez. And if you don't know how to control that, you get the
unnecessary roughness. Number.
That's what you get. You get the flag. Do you miss Engram? No. What's up, Mr. Big? I haven't seen you for a while here. Do I miss Engram? No. Because of the fact that it was time for him to leave. You don't have to go home, but you get the hell out of here. It was time for him to go. Do I miss him? Not at all. Would he be a nice option to have on this team? Yes. Yes, he would. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Larry Donnell. I missed the backpack boa. Larry Donnell. I miss Larry Donnell. Shockey would run y'all ante over for the first. Shockey was one of those guys out of the U. He came off the U super team. He came in here with attitude, swagger, moxie, a little bit of Jonathan the Moxon, a little bit of Lance Arbor in him. He came out here with a little bit of fire. That's why he was a first-round pick. And people are expecting Cam Skattebo to do the same thing, but I don't know yet. I don't know if I see it yet. Make sure you hit the like button, guys. Yo, Larry Donnell had some potential. Lol, he had a few good games. He did. I still miss Mark Bavaro. Only had one speed, but he was a freight train when he got his head of steam. He really was. You always go back to that Monday night game in San Francisco when he carried like 497 people and took Ronnie Lott on for a little bit of a boat ride. He was a guy, but again, Bavaro was like another one. He was one of those guys. He was one of these big tight ends. He had the big shoulder pads on. He could carry people. And he did have, people don't count the speed that he had coming out of Notre Dame. He would, like I said, he was probably, we did a video, oh my God, years ago of best tight ends ever for the New York Giants. And we actually had a tie between him and Shockey. And I looked at it and I keep thinking about it because there were certain players that nobody even remembers that were great tight ends for the Giants. And we haven't had a lot. I mean, but you go back to like the 70s with Bob Tucker, who had like 300 something receptions, over 4,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. Aaron Thomas, who no one knows who the fuck Aaron Thomas is, but he played from 62 to 70, made a couple Pro Bowls. He was the Jeremy Shockey of the 60s going into 1970. And I actually had Bavaro, Shockey, then Aaron Thomas, and then Bob Tucker. So if you ever find that video, I don't know what the hell that video is, but it's a good video. Let's see here. Trent says he was washed like clean laundry. Good riddance. Shane Lemieux gave Bellinger the naked photos of Mara. That's a possibility. But we have to credit Shane Lemieux with this, though. And the first year and a change with Andrew Thomas, when everyone was doubting him, we said on this channel, you got to give him a break, give him a chance, give him a break. But the problem was this, and I kept telling people, and Jerry Oslowski, who was on the couple of weeks ago, last week, the former offensive lineman, even mentioned it. It's the communication between, and I've been saying the same thing. How come when Jerry says it, everyone fucking listens? When I say it, no one fucking cares. But it's the communication between the guard and the tackle. And I never thought and I pointed out a bunch of times, Will Hernandez at times left Andrew Thomas out to dry. There were missed blocks, there were missed assignments. And all of a sudden, when Will Hernandez went out with COVID, and Shane Lemieux had to play, all of a sudden, it was like a light went on, and all of a sudden, Andrew Thomas knew how to play. And I remember the Monday night game. I was like, oh my God, this is the guy that we were looking for. And I kept saying you need to have a certain level of communication with your guard or even your tight end to be successful, because of the fact that if you don't have each other's back, you're going to get wrecked. And Will Hernandez at times left him out to dry. And that's just the way you got to look at it. It's about communications. Didn't Bellinger break his eye socket? Yeah. I tore my ACL twice. I broke my forearm. What does that have to do with the price of eggs in China? Jay Ferris says, I wouldn't be surprised if Kareem said Jay Ferris, I wouldn't be surprised to find out they're way into Hyatt's hands, though. James says, terrible trend. Shockey, good player. We let go. He won a Super Bowl. Beckham, good player. We let him go. Won a Super Bowl. And of course, now Saquon. Don't forget that Shockey basically won. Shockey's got 2 rings. He was on the championship, the Giants Super Bowl team. Yeah, and then he won the Super Bowl with the Saints. Waller and Rudolph numbers that year, the year before they came to the Giants, were eerily similar. They really were. And I mean, like I said, you want to take a chance on a player sometimes, but sometimes you just know that it's just not going to work out. It like I said, with the Waller thing, I kept telling people, no, don't do this. Don't do this. And you know, I even jokingly said he would rather hang out with his wife in the WNBA and have a rap career. And we already had that with Kadarius Toney. Russ is past his prime as well. Homer still think he's a Super Bowl. I still love it because, like I said, when we first signed Russell Wilson, I don't remember who it was, so I can't credit him with
Stupid giant Twitter post.
I can't credit who it was, but they posted a highlight reel of Russell Wilson. And I just looked at it and I said, that's Will Woolfolk. It's like, you're posting a highlight reel of Russell Wilson from his rookie season. We don't have that Russell Wilson. It's going to be ugly with Russell under center. I don't know if it's going to be ugly. I think there will, but I don't think, well, I don't know. Let's rephrase this. There are going to be moments with Russell Wilson that are going to be frustrating because people are going to expect him to make the 24-year-old Russell Wilson play, not the 36-year-old Russell Wilson. They're going to say, why is he not making those plays that he normally made? Because we don't have that Russell Wilson. We have the 30-plus-year-old Russell Wilson. We don't have the 24-year-old Russell Wilson. And that's going to infuriate certain Giant fans. I'm going to tell you this. If things go bad for the Giants, I would not be shocked by if by week 3, Giant fans are calling for Jameis Winston. And that'll be your first home game on Sunday night on national television. Like I said, I see the bombs from Russell Wilson. Oh, he's dropping dimes, dropping bombs. And I laugh because it's the same thing with Jackson Dart. These are plays that are against the all shorts team. And some of these plays, if you look at it from a football, not a fan perspective, but you look at it as a technical football play, they're not good throws. This one throw everyone shows me on YouTube or Twitter is like, I'm like, okay, well, here's the problem. Russell leads his receiver over his right shoulder by about 2-3 yards. It's a touchdown. The receiver had to slow up, come back, and contort his whole body backwards to catch the ball. That's going to be a turnover or an incompletion in a regular season game. That was like some of the Jackson Dart throws that people are highlighting. It's like, okay, well, he threw it behind the wide receiver, and he didn't throw it anywhere near where he should have to place the ball where the receiver should be the only one that can get it. But again, like I said, these are OTA throws. They mean nothing. It's working out the kinks. But when you're going to show me a play that is not technically a sound football play, then I get a little upset. Todd says John Riggins an all-star. We're big every down backs. Fan needs to stop with these comparisons. He's no. I've met John Allstott. John Allstott, John Riggins. I've met Allstott. He was a big man. He was a huge man. And he actually wasn't as prolific as a rusher that people think he is, because he also had Warwick Dunn. Let's see. Todd Taylor says we need another Charles Way. I miss Charlie Way. I miss Charlie. Charlie used to do. He used to do some of the inside the coaches club. You have like a show before the game. You know, it used to be last time I was there was Charles Way and Hakeem Nicks, which was great. But yeah, Charlie looked like he could still play. John Riggins would have carried Kayvon in his back all the way to the end zone. He would have gave him a free ride. Would have stopped on a dime and gave him 9 cents change. Oh, Charles Ways. Good call, but that's a hollaback girl. That's way back. Trenton says, I'm hoping the Giants are good this year. You guys deserve some happiness. We had the Knicks. We got the Mets right now. You know, so I gotta have some happiness with my Mets. But like I said, it's gonna be, can we survive? Oh yeah. Oh no, I can't make fun of you. You're a Met fan. Trenton, I was gonna make fun of you because the Mets are a game and a half up on the Phillies. But I can't make fun of you. You wore a Met hat. Fuck, can't make fun of you. Oh, you want a blast for the past? I found these in a box. Hold on, let me see if I can get to this. Talking about Knicks basketball. You want a blast from the past? I haven't worn these in years. Here you go. People that are Knicks fans will remember these. If you're a Knicks fan, you will remember these. Yeah. Does anyone know? Yeah. Bueller. Blast from the past there. Cream says at this point, if in Russ Creek he'll be playing Jack Rooney.
That's great.
Gotta get to work. That's right.
Oh, I haven't done it in a while. That's what she said.
Come on. My name is Willie. Baby, I keep the ladies creaming, and all my fans got screaming. You can defeat me, you're dreaming.
Flex your chest. Get Metrex. Oh yeah. There you go. Another good movie. Jack Rooney. The Captain Rooney. Steaming Willie Beeman on the benches. Listen, if Dart turns into Willie Beeman and plays like Willie Beeman, doesn't throw up on the field, I'm good with that. I'm good. I'm good with him being Willie. I got my Willie Beeman jersey over there. James says, Trenton, don't worry. We're all on our knocks again, so get ready for the shit show. Don't forget to hit the like. Dan the Man says, what's up, Dan the Man? We have no Shark LeVay on our defense. Are we going to do all the names from Any Given Sunday? Is Tony D'Amato going to come out? 1 yard at a time. No, 1 inch at a time. 1 yard at a time. Oh my God. If James's idea, James, I don't understand what the point thing is. Trent says NFC East on Hard Knocks is going to be a great, it is going to be a must watch. It really is going to be one. I wear it like Biggie. What am I missing here? Oh, the crown. I don't know what the hell these crowns are, guys. I really don't. Hit the like button, says James Williams. If you don't, I don't know what's going to happen. Love those Niner Giant G-Men games on Monday night. You know, back in the 80s, though, you literally had the Cowboys, you had the Eagles, and hell, you even had the St. Louis Cardinals all in the same division. It was one hell of a division. You know, you had Theismann, Neil Lomax, Ron Jaworski. You know, you had Randall Cunningham, Phil Simms. Bavaro hated the Eagles to death, then played for them for 2 seasons. Ouch. Yeah, that was wrong. Bro, what if Russell chokes? Cox. What? What's up, Glenn? I haven't seen you for a while either. I'm going to say this. Russell Wilson, like I said, people just got to remember, you're not getting, we're going to say it over and over again, you're not getting Russell Wilson from 10 years ago. We're getting the Pittsburgh version of Russell Wilson, who went 2-6 in 8 games. Now, I love it because everyone makes excuses why he went 2-6. None of it was his fault, though, which with Giant fans, none of it was his fault. But and also think about this for a minute, guys, with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, 2-time Super Bowl competitor, 1-time Super Bowl winner. Nobody wanted him. Nobody was knocking at his door. He was waiting to go back to Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh was like, no, we don't want you. Pittsburgh has Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. And Pittsburgh looked at Russell Wilson and said, nah, we're good. That should tell you something. My dad still talks about Bavaro because your dad's a smart man. Todd says, just look at any other team when you see a tight end ghost blocks and ends and other looking inside, it means the tight end screwed up. You're right. So that's what we were saying before. It's all about communications. That's what we need to look at. Dink and dunk was Russ. And we're going back to that. Russ is going to be a disaster. I don't know if he's, like I said, I don't know if he's going to be a disaster. I just think that people are putting too much stock in the Russell Wilson thing. There was actually players that were upset in Pittsburgh when they took out the 4-2 Justin Fields for Russell Wilson. You're like, how is that possible? Russell Wilson is a guy that went to Super Bowls, was a hero in Seattle, played well enough in Denver. But they just didn't want it there. Jay says, I think we should have just thrown crab legs out there. I hate Russell Wilson. Give me famous Jameis. I can't do Jameis Winston. Listen, if you have to start Jameis Winston, you might as well just play the kid. Because Jameis Winston is going to be infuriating. He is going to be maddening. He is going to drive you up a fucking wall. I've seen Jameis Winston play a lot. He is going to make you go insane. He's going to have these plays and you're like, whoa, look at that throw. Then the next play, you're like, whoa, look at that throw. No. Todd says after his 2nd and 3rd and a half, fans will want. I agree. I think Dart played soon. I played Dart sooner than I think Dart does play. You know what's funny? I do think Jackson Dart plays sooner than people think. I'm not saying you should do it, but I keep saying this with Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. You are an injury and an interception away from playing Jackson Dart, and you're probably going to keep Tommy DeVito in the practice squad, but you are literally an injury and an interception away from Jackson Dart. I think, yeah. So that I actually really do that. James says, I want to see the Preacher's quarterback, also aka Mr. Crablegs, eating those ones. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Let's see here. Me too. He has a wild gunslinger. Yeah, the problem is if you're a gunslinger and you pull your gun and you can't hit the target. I'm sorry.
That's what she said.
That's going to be a big issue. James says if Dart plays sooner, then that means the season went down fast. Well, like I said, James, it could literally go down. Carl Banks said it on his on one of his Believe streams. Look, if I worked in the product endorsement of Believe on his Believe stream that he hopes the Giants do well, but we could be having a different conversation in November. Danny says at least with Jameis, he's going to be challenged the defense, but the problem is this: if he challenges the defense is probably going to be ready for it. And his act, where everyone says this, and he is the consummate teammate. All of his teammates love him, but here's the problem. They love him to a point, and then the same thing happened in Tampa, happened in New Orleans, happened at the end with the Browns. The act wears thin when you keep fucking throwing interceptions. And you keep losing, the act wears thin quick. So at the end of the day, I would rather just put in Jackson Dart. To my Yankee fans, it's okay. We'll show you how to handle those kids from out west. Yeah, those Dodgers. Jay says, "Yeah, I don't like all the fake CEO bullshit Russ does. His teammates think he's a clown. Some do. Some do. I don't know. Like I said, right now everyone loves everyone because it's June and we're undefeated because everyone's undefeated in June. So, oh, James says, the kid from Coney Island who got his own shoe. Yeah, most people don't know. It's the Stephen Barrys." Trent says, I love the Mets, baby. Gotta love the Mets. Let's go Mets. Yeah, I know. That's why I couldn't make fun of you. That's why I couldn't make fun of you, my friend. Let's see here. Let's see. Jameis is going to challenge the defense, the wide receivers, the coaches, patience, slap. That sums it up. Jameis Winston, that is, like I said, he is maddening. His last season in Tampa, 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, sets an NFL record for, I think, of over 400 passing attempts for never throwing a ball out of bounds the entire season. But also they failed to mention the 30 interceptions, the fact that they finished 7-9. If they would have won, the last game. They would have been 8-8 and made the playoffs. And Bruce Arians just couldn't fucking take it anymore and said, listen, we picked up your fifth-year option. You're out of here, though. And they go out and get Tom Brady. And then what do they do next year? They win a Super Bowl. Logic's finest. Tim in high school. I had Patrick Ewing sneakers from 86. I have so many different pairs of sneakers. I got my old Converse Bernard King, Converse Weapons. I got the Stephen Barry's, Starberries. I got so many sneakers laying around here somewhere. I don't have those though. I do have my Nike Knicks. Trent says Giants open up with Washington. Got to start 1-0. No, the problem is this: we open up with Washington and Dallas on the road. We could be 0-2 in the division, and 0-2 just in general. 0-2 in the division. We have to start 1-1. We have to start one. There is no. What's can't? There ain't no can't. There you can't start 0-2. Sorry, I had to channel my inner Mick. Not the Irish part. I mean the Mick from Rocky, but could be the Irish part. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it was the Irish part. I lost my train of thought for a second there. I just thought I really did a good Mick impression. Boy, I must be old. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about now. I don't know what I'm talking about now. Oh, you can't start the season 0-2. You have to be 1-1. You don't come out of that stretch going into Kansas City at home at 0-2 and 0-2 in the division. You might as well just play Jackson. You might as well just play Jackson Dart in week 4 because the season's going to be over quick. The Arizona Cardinals in the NFC East was weird. Well, they weren't the Arizona Cardinals. They were St. Louis Cardinals. So it kind of made sense a little bit. not much. Todd says back in the 80s, we had teams you could expect to win games, primetime games. Yeah, we did. Too bad it's not us. Cooks is one of Russell Cooks. I was like, Cox. Glenn, where you fucking going with that one? I hope he does cook. I hope Sierra lets him cook, saute, barbecue. I hope he does. And I hope he does. And like I said, I think he is going to play well early. Here's my Russell Wilson philosophy as you hit the like button. He's going to play well early. And then I kind of have a feeling that he's going to taper off. That if he gets hit a lot or he gets pressured, when you're 30-something years old and you continuously get hit or you get hit, those little nicks, those little dings, those little bruises, those little bangs, they all start piling up and you get a little bit of what they refer to as happy feet. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Russell Wilson, but I'm just saying I just have a feeling. Let's see. Jake Ferris says Jake Plummer retired early to play pro handball. He did actually. That's a nice segue, actually. Russ would have to be out of the league if he didn't. He would be out of the league if we didn't sign him. But now the Giant fans completely rabid bullshit. Yeah, that's true. He would be out of the league if we didn't sign. Jake retired because he didn't want to play for Miami. Let's see here. Trenton says, famous Jameis is more of a meme than a real quarterback. You're right. But you know what? He's our meme. He's our meme, Trenton. Don't fuck with our meme. Glenn, what's up? We have weapons on offense, but you can't tell me Russ not 10 times better than DJ. Well, that's like saying garbage is 10 times better than trash. I mean, what does that mean, Glenn? I don't know. I can't tell you if he's that. I'm going to tell you 2-6 the last 8 games and only 1 in the playoffs in Pittsburgh on a well-coached Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh team. that they didn't want him back. Right now, Pittsburgh has a sack of potatoes with a number 10 on it, and that's their quarterback. They would rather have the sack of potatoes that they put a jersey on than Russell Wilson. I don't know. I gotta wait and see. So what? We are a bottom feeders organization, and we have to try. We have to try. You're right. We do. Let's see here. James, Big Tim had to watch a guy in Jones who was shooting blanks, not even trying to pull the trigger. That's the other thing. You didn't. He didn't pull the trigger. That's the other thing with Jones. Jones at the end just all of a sudden became more than gun shy. He wouldn't even. James, are you around? I want to put the link in the chat. I'm going to talk to you about the Knicks for a second. I want to talk to James about the Knicks. I didn't get to talk to James about the Knicks. So what I'm doing is I'm using my authority here on the channel today to talk to James about the Knicks. Oh, it'll be all right, guys. It's gonna be fine. I have all the faith in the world about this. I do. I love it. People are bad move, so stupid. This is dumb on so many levels. Oh, I love this. Look, here, I'm gonna read a comment from Unapologetic Television. Because this is the shit I have to deal with. And people don't see some of these things. And he writes like a diatribe here. And I love this is so dumb on so many levels. First off, it ruins the very advantage that this is about Kayvon Thibodeau that we just created by bringing in Carter and making this the big picture, the picture not as big. And with five, because 5 is a fold, you create advantage. No team can quell. You know what? This is what I have to deal with, the morons. You don't think that teams are going to figure out, okay, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter are all on the field. You don't think they're going to think, the quarterback's going to think to himself, they're going to blitz. I'm checking out. You're not playing quarterbacks in this league that don't get it. And they think that Kayvon, I don't understand where everyone thinks Kayvon Thibodeau is Leonard Marshall. He's not even Keith Hamilton. He's not Matthias Kiwanuka. I don't see this great destructive force in Kayvon Thibodeau. When he had I'm going to say it again, he had 28 tackles last year, 14 assists, 14 solo, and 4.5 sacks, and 12. Yes, he was hurt, but he still played 12 games and started 12 games. This is a guy that was getting a sack a game. Offensive tackles know what to do. Push him wide. Because he never cuts it back in. Oh. We have a little uncomfortable hope. You're right, Glenn. We do. Todd Taylor says, agree, fans refuse to just let the guys play. They make heroes out of them day one, so there is nowhere to go but down. You're right. You're not right. You're not wrong. That's the thing. We are in such a microwave society that we build people up so much before they even done anything that when they make one singular mistake, we jump on their asses and want to get rid of them. Back in the 80s and the 70s and parts of the 90s, you sometimes draft a quarterback in the first round. They wouldn't play for like 5 years. Nobody would say that they were bust. They just that's what you did. Nowadays, if you draft a quarterback, it's because of the fact of the salary cap. You sit there and you're like, okay, I got to win in the first 4 years or I'm fucked. Behold, Don Tim, what's up, Behold? Jay Farris says, I'm 1-1. I'm okay with it. Would get if somebody get to 4-4, I think that would be fantastic. That's what I'm saying. You need to understand that. That's the thing. And you get it, Jay. You have to start. Oh, I got to bring in James. You have to start 1-1. You have to. You have to. James, school these people. Some of these, not the people in the chat, but like some of the idiots that I see on different Twitter pages and shit. I don't know, man. I'm old. I've gotten old.
We've gotten old pretty fast.
We have.
You know what I was thinking about? Real quick, sidebar. For everybody of a certain age, think about this. Think about how technology moves, right? And yes, I'm high, so just bear with me. Think about how technology moves, right? Think about how long the Walkman was in play. the Walkman was in heavy phase from like what 80s, 90s, even into the 2000s, right? So that's a what.
First MP3 player came out in like 99 or 98.
Right. How long was the time of like the iPod, before we all jumped to like something else, as far as like having music on our phones or something? Like the iPod, it was cool. It was here. How long was that? Like what, a good 10 years?
I would say
10, maybe.
I would say a good 10 years.
10 years, right? But I was just thinking, like, damn, something as simple as the Walkman, or even like that was like 20 years, people were still using that. Because, I mean, people in certain places, like everybody.
First iPhone was 2007.
2007?
Yeah, but I would really say that popularity probably didn't come in until like 2009. So, yeah, I would say 10 years.
That's just kind of interesting to me, like something that was so dire. And then all of a sudden now our life is all in this phone. Went from Walkman, Discman, MP3, iPod to phone, and now phone is your life.
Yeah, no,
you're not. Just funny.
You're not wrong there, James. But
anyway, go ahead.
Talk to me about and this was a great point that Todd brought up. And I want to go back to Todd's point real quick. Great, the fans refuse just to let the guys play. They make heroes out of them day one, so there's nowhere to go but down. Where have we come to the society recently that, and I would say maybe it's in the last 10 years, that all of a sudden we have these people on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest Giants ever before they even play a snap in the preseason? I mean, I am confused and befuddled by that. That all of a sudden we have gone from allowing players to earn their way, to earn their chops, to the fact that now we're just like, hey, this guy we're going to unretire number 1 and give it to this guy. We should unretire number 11 or 56, give it to this guy. And they've never done anything. But then as soon as they make a mistake, these same people are jumping down their asses because of the fact that they're human and they're still learning.
It's again, I started talking about time, and like you even led off with saying we're old, and we're still in good shape, but I feel old from things like you just said. 20 years ago, players would never ask to have somebody like if you go to a franchise, something like a Lawrence Taylor's number, like it's insane. But we're in a time frame now where that's not as blasphemous, so to speak, for lack of a better word. That's not as blasphemous as it used to be. And things that were just shunned upon are okay now. And even to the point of like the comment, and like you were saying, like we just overhype. I know we're excited. Microwave society. Thank you. That's a good way to put,
I say the microwave society. I got to bring in Trenton here. First, I got to ask Trenton a question. Trenton, are you high?
No, actually, no.
You're not high? Okay, well then he can't join the club.
That's not nice. You do it. Go away.
Yeah, I've always told you, Trenton, a million times, you got to be high to come on this show.
Oh yeah.
that's kind of a rule.
I actually have some blue moonshine here.
There you go.
Blue moonshine. You were allowed to have that sitting behind an Eagles flag?
It's Mets blue. There you go.
Okay, all right. I'll give you Mets blue. You are on a team. You have a team, Trenton, that's won a Super Bowl, or just recently, or just the last Super Bowl winner. And we're talking about, to Kareem's point, and I've said it before a million times on the show, it's the microwave society in regards to the fact that you all of a sudden just want something to happen, but when it doesn't happen right away, you blame everyone else for its failures.
Yeah, excellent point about the retiring numbers thing. So Brandon Graham just retired for the Eagles, and I assume that 55 will be retired by the Eagles. If we were to draft some kid, say in 2026 or 2027, that wanted to wear 55, I'd be pretty pissed. I think those numbers mean something. It's about the player's legacy. It's about paving their way in that number. You can't just snatch that from somebody else.
Now, I think we can agree Brandon Graham is not on the level of Lawrence Taylor.
No, not at all. No.
His importance to Philadelphia is what makes what makes Philadelphia want to retire his number.
In my words, he
he
is
was-
the perfect role player. He was
Yeah.
always a role player throughout his career, but he was great in the locker room. He always took a small contract to stick around, and the leadership that he provided and his big game abilities, he always seemed to be there when we needed him the most.
Yeah, exactly.
He did have.
But
Yeah.
like I said, the fact that he played for 16 years and only had 76 sacks. I mean, he should be retired because of his importance to
As an Eagle. Yep.
Yes, there you go. And like I said, I just want to make sure people think, we're just make sure people understand we're comparing eggs. Apples.
Yeah, no. Different players, different meanings to the team for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what's like a big retired number in Philadelphia? Vince Papali?
I really don't know off the top of my head. I would say I think the biggest number that we're ever going to retire, if we ever retire 62, that'll probably be the one that stands forever.
Okay. Yeah.
For Kelsey, or I can see us retiring Lane Johnson's number when he's done, because he'll have 2 Super Bowl rings and a bunch of All Pros under his belt. So there's a couple. I think the linemen will definitely get their jerseys retired. As far as current numbers go, I'm not really sure.
What about a dude like if a player came? Is Brian Dawkins?
Yeah.
Brian Dawkins, I don't think anybody's worn his number since he left. No.
Okay.
No one's put on the number 20 since he's gone.
No, definitely not.
That's a good. Mr. Jackson comes up. What's up, Tim? It's Jim. Sorry I missed some lives. Been working. Work's been hectic. Well, I was wondering where you were, Mr. Jackson. We haven't seen you in a while. And plus, I do live streams at weird fucking times. I don't know when I'm going to do a live stream. I'm only doing a live stream today because my wife had to work. So I was like, oh, I'm bored. I'm gonna go into the office. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, James, I gotta talk to you about the Knicks real quick though.
I was gonna say you don't want to. I know that's why you want to come on talk about Tibbs getting canned.
Listen, I told you.
Explain this to me as a person that doesn't follow basketball. What happened? Why is this a big deal? Just give me the dummy treatment here.
This is the guy that the Knicks had not made the playoffs in consecutive years for like 15 years before he came in. He coached for 5 years.
So they were like the New York Football Giants.
They were the New York Football Giants. They made the playoffs 4 out of 5 times. They progressed. They were in the Eastern Conference semifinals 2 years ago. They are in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. He won 50 games 2 years in a row now. And then because of the fact that he just went kind of wacky with his rotation, that he got shit canned today when he just signed last year a 3-year extension. So we still owe him $30 million.
But also we added a bunch of players this offseason to make a run, which we kind of did. We did. Based off the track we were on, just to put everything in context, the way we went out was not the way we should have went out.
No.
We took out the team that we were worried about that was in front of us, that we took out the big bully on the block. And then the other freckle-faced kid with the mean left hook came from Indiana and knocked us out. That wasn't supposed to happen.
We were literally.
I felt similar last year in the playoffs when the Eagles were kind of waiting around to see what the matchup was going to be, and then the Commanders went and beat Detroit. I was like, "That's it, dude. We got it. Like Detroit's out of the way. We're gonna beat the commies and go to the Super Bowl." So I get that. Like out the bigger threats gone. You think you're good, and then the freckle face kid grabs. Yeah, I gotcha.
We were literally built with the Bridges trade and the Karl-Anthony Towns trade to beat the Celtics. This unit was built. We signed OG Anunoby to $212 million. $212 to beat the Celtics. And we did that, and to the point, James, we just ran up. We ran up against a more athletic, younger team who runs 10 deep. But I told you, James, I was texting you before the Indiana series even started. I told you, if he loses this series, he's going to get fired. And I kind of was saying it jokingly and not jokingly, but for him to get fired after this and to, he had the locker room. You saw the comments from Brunson. You saw the comments from Hart. He had the locker room. I just think the fact that he is not a tactician and the fact that he played a certain style for 82 games, which was to ride his starters as much as humanly possible. Then with potentially 14 games left in your season to win a championship, you all of a sudden go, hey, I'm going to play Mr. West, who hasn't seen the light of the day since Jesus. We're going to bring him off the bench. It just did. Hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna start Mitchell Robinson alongside Cat, and we're no longer gonna have a defensive presence on the bench because
Yeah,
of the
that
fact
was kind of cute for one game.
I don't know. I don't know. Tell me something, James. Tell me something, James.
Older I get, I try to keep things simple, and you lose game one the way you did, right? Everybody like horrible fashion, never happened before, first time in history.
First time, like you said, 175 games.
I think it's first, yeah. Basically first time is like. So, I think the biggest thing is not weird things happen in sports, but to come behind that and then lose the game two. I think, like I'm saying, like if you think like you lose game one in such a dramatic fashion, and you as a good coach, a coach that I'm supposed to believe in is going to take us to a chip, you can't rally the troops to win that second home game. So then if we go down 0-2, then like you said, now you're going to do a funk doctor spot and mix up the lineup, knowing that we don't have a bench, and then it's like, and then you stop using the guys who you used while Brunson was out. Right up to the playoffs, which was weird. We acquired PJ Tucker to just look good on the bench, I guess. He's a veteran. We didn't use that guy at all. So it's like, and last thing, there's about 3 games this playoff, 3 or 4, where we just came out flat.
Yeah.
Flat. And that's inexcusable, and that's totally on the coach. It's on the player, of course,
hold on,
but it's on the coach.
Hold on. I got to thank Jay Ferris for sending out the 5 gifted online Big Blue memberships. So make sure you get you get OG members. I couldn't do it for free. They made me charge $1.99, but that's as low as you can go. You get all your videos early, and now you're getting all the shorts at sometimes 2-3 days early. So now you're getting all your videos early. You're getting all the shorts early. I got a bunch of other stuff coming down the pike that I'm working on with Believe at this point in time. So I want to thank Jay Ferris for making sure these gifted out those memberships. So everyone thank Jay as you possibly can. Again, I'm sorry, James. I didn't want to interrupt you. My thing was this.
Go ahead.
Game 2 to me, the loss in game 2 was more crippling than that loss in game 1. Because game 1, the Knicks went point for point. It's not like they didn't score down the stretch. They only scored 2 points when they were knocking down threes. And then
we were blowing them out, right? Game 1, we had them. Yep.
We missed the 2 free throws. Cat missed one, and OG Anunoby missed one. So you had those 2 free throws, and you also, the fact, like I said, we scored, I think, 6 points in the last 35 seconds of that game.
Right.
So it's not like we weren't scoring, but when the ball bounces up 9,468 feet in the air and just falls into the basket,
and then you lost in overtime.
Game.
That wasn't the end of the game when he hit the miracle shot.
No, you didn't.
That's a lot of factors. I'm paying a guy $212 million. I gave up 5 draft picks. I drafted for this other kid that some people say is a little kooky. I'm putting all this together, and you have the clutch player of the year.
And Mr. Brown.
I'm not expecting for you to go out like that.
No, but I said I think it was more of a shock that they did not come back on that second game.
Yeah,
and really just put it to the Pacers.
No, yeah, I think I said and you said that to lose the game 1, but then come back to that game 2. Because if you win the game 2, we're going to play game 7. We're going to play game 7.
You win game 2, you're tied up. You're back. Technically, you're back 0-0. It's no longer a 7-game series. It's now a 5-game series.
You can't go down 0-2 and then have to go on the road and then have to win 2. Like, that's asking a lot, And I said to you, I could say it now because it ain't gonna happen, but I said, we're going to the finals.
You did.
I said that to you at the beginning of the Boston series because I looked at it and I was like, we just came down from 20 against these. They want to chuck up threes like some kids at the park. Oh, this is over. Long before Tatum went down, long before, and then you going in, I was like, we got these guys. Devin Pornstash, Nesmith, Thomas Bryant. Who are these guys?
I'm just smiling and nodding, bro. I don't know anything about basketball.
My fault, Mr. Wright. We went on a little rant right there because our coach got fired.
I didn't get to talk to you about basketball.
Right, nah.
I didn't get to call you today. When everything happened, I didn't get to call you up.
Yeah, nah, it's just you can't lose game one and then lose that game two. And again, we're a better team than the Pacers. Again, it's Halliburton had that amazing Magic Johnson game. In the next game, he had 6 points.
Yeah.
You know, like seriously, it's like okay, we screwed ourselves, and part of that is on the coach, unfortunately.
Chris for the love of MMA, just stopping in saying I'll rewatch later. Smash that like though, family. Make sure you do that. Cream says I don't see Tibbs as a championship caliber coach. Tibbs is evidently, I guess he owns a record of having the most games or the highest winning percentage without a championship.
I don't see Thibodeau as a championship caliber player either.
No, I don't either.
Oh, you should have hit the Ghost Man.
You know, come on, man. It's not like he's never going to get blocked.
Oh,
Space
man.
Ghost. Space Ghost. Look at that, man.
Not like he's going to get blocked. And I remember that play because Swift went around.
I remember that play too. I was watching it with my dad and my friend.
Swift went around the corner for like 30.
That's like holding a steak in front of a shark in most cases. Guys on defense live for moments like that. If you ever played, if you live for a moment where you can, oh, this guy came out the pocket and he's on the field trying to block to get the ball. I'm gonna murder him. And that Jalen Hurts must have the God forearm because he just said, "You stop right there, heathen."
Yeah. Yeah, you
Devontae, you may pass.
You know, that kind of reminds me of this picture that my brother always sends me from last year. It was the Giants-Eagles game at MetLife. There's a great picture of Daniel Jones just stiff-arming Cooper DeJean into the turf. And my brother sends it to me. I'm like, man, that's the highlight of your season, bro. There's the highlight of the season.
Oh, Daniel Jones actually got physical? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
got physical on a rookie, bro. On a white corner rookie.
White on white crime? Damn it. I missed that.
Just send your brother this.
What's that?
Exactly. There you go. That's my boy right there.
The proper tech, and I have a Cooper DeJean jersey. I've worn it on the show a million times.
Yeah, I've seen you in it, Tim. That's a good one.
I've worn it, but like,
yeah,
you know, you got that's what I like about Cooper though. He knows how to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all perfect tackling technique. You don't lead with your head, you lead with your shoulder, you wrap up, you lift, and you drive with your legs.
He's got linebacker tendencies. He's like an undersized linebacker.
Can you send him to Kayvon Thibodeau so he could help him learn how to tackle?
Is he going to have a camp? Maybe we can send him.
Yeah, is he going to have a camp?
Kayvon always looked skinny to me, dude. I always thought Kayvon was too skinny looking.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Then you haven't seen the rest of our defensive line.
We have the fittest defensive line other than Sexy Dexy.
Hey, actually, we've got Nolan Smith, who's probably like 225 pounds soaking wet. And then we have Jalix Hunt, who used to play safety for a Christian school that I don't even know the name of. So we got some undersized edge rushers this year, too.
Yes, but your entire defensive line does not look like that.
Yo, that's true.
They look like linebackers.
We got Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter to beef it up a bit.
They look like, James is right. This does not look like defensive ends. This looks like we have 6 linebackers.
Look at
Kayvon. Running backs. They kind of look like running backs to me. Number 46 looks like he plays fullback.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He kind of does look like a cheap Charles Way. Oh, my God.
But these are the people that are going to be going up against the Philadelphia offensive line.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I keep saying that.
Hard Knocks, baby. I can't wait.
Hard Knocks is going to be crazy, dude. I can't wait to see Philly media go nuts. Like I said, I'm a Pennsylvania Eagles fan, not a Philadelphia, you know what I mean, Eagles fan sort of thing. And so I can't wait. The second AJ says something in practice or Sirianni says something that sounds a little quirky, they're just going to run with it. So I can't wait for the Hard Knocks. For the whole division, too. Like, I love the NFC East, dude. I love the rivalries. I love just talking to NFC East ball. We're the only division where everybody's got multiple Super Bowls, so there's that.
Yeah, but you'll never have. Well, let me see here. Yeah, Chicago's driving up the price and it looks like Philly's out.
We're classic on them, man.
We're
a hit, baby. That's why we're back. You guys are there because you won the Super Bowl.
I agree with Tim because I've heard Tim talk about this before, that Joe Schoen loves to be the center of attention.
I think he wants to around.
I feel like he's going to be just licking his chops being back on Hard Knocks because he's going to want to show how smart he is now.
I think him and his wife want a reality show. I've said it before. We've said it a million times. My wife and I watched that one scene where they're playing Uno and the wife's got on all the denim and all bedazzled. And my wife was like, think about how many times we sat at the table playing Uno with the kids. So yeah. She goes, do I ever wear a bedazzled jacket and hat and have all my makeup done? Or I just come out and sit down and just start playing Uno? Like, yeah.
Exactly.
It was staged a little bit for a reality show. But
well, hey, man.
Hard Knocks is going to be wild. I think Hard Knocks is going to be good this year. I mean, like I said, just getting the in-season perspective from the East. I mean, this could be.
And you'll get Dallas too. You'll get Dallas in there. So we'll get some good Jerry Jones. We'll get some good Jerry Jones sound bites.
And listen, you and Washington are going to be professional. Us and Dallas, we're going to be the circus.
I know, dude.
We're there for the entertainment, baby.
I don't know, dude. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Washington's like leadership structure. Like Cliff Kingsbury's kind of an arrogant asshole.
Yeah, but
their offensive coordinator
got rid of Dan Sullivan or Dan Schneider, whatever. Yeah, Dan Schneider. After they got rid of Schneider,
he was the specter that was afflicting their franchise for sure. He was the reason they could never get anywhere.
They're normal, and Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn seems pretty normal.
Dan Quinn's just like average guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like guy you have a beer with. Yeah, like they're gonna be. Like I said, they're gonna be fine. They got Jaden. They got Skinny Lamar and Dan Quinn. You guys won the Super Bowl. You guys won the Super Bowl. You guys are good to go. Yep. Us and Shane and Jerry Jones competing for TV time and ratings.
Oh, exactly, man. They're going to be trying to outdo each other every week.
That's going to be, and we're going to have, and Tim, you're going to have a perspective, Mr. Wright, from the Eagle side, and get his takes on how he feels his team is performing on the show. It's going to be a circus, man.
It's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait. I can't wait to be on with you guys and talk about it because it's going to be funny as hell.
It's good. Because Mr. Alvarez says that pick looks cool, but holy moly, did they expose how undersized all of them look?
Yo.
It looks like my high school defensive line that I used to play with.
They're like the gluten-free defensive ends.
You know what's hilarious? I know something about undersized linemen because I only played through high school. I was 160 pounds soaking wet, and I was our nose guard. So talk about undersized D-line.
You were Rudy Rudiger.
Very true, but I actually played.
Rudy played. He played in high school at St. I can't remember the name of the college, but he played.
Look, we had the same level of experience then. There you go.
My concern again, I'm still about the defensive line, and I'm gonna nobody's listening. No one fucking listens. Everyone says, well, we're even though they're undersized, we're gonna use speed. It's gonna be speed, blinding speed, lightning. We're gonna eat lightning and crap thunder. No one's figured out the fact that teams are gonna understand. Listen, with that speed is usually gonna come over aggressiveness, which is going to leave large chunks of real estate available potentially in the middle of the field if you bring the rush from the outside and you only have one interior defender. Because I like Darius Alexander, but Darius Alexander is 300 pounds. He's not known as a run stopper. Even Joe Shane said he is an athletic pass rusher.
Well, isn't Dexter Lawrence supposed to be the run stopper? He's supposed to be your all-in-one, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's very easy to run on the Giants. You just don't run in the middle.
Just stay away from Dex.
You look for 97 and say, I'm not going that way. And that's the thing.
I remember in the Giants-Eagles playoff game in 2022, Dexy had to sub out for 3 plays, and we gained 2 consecutive first downs.
Yeah.
Rushing the ball. It's pretty similar, actually. We've got a better defensive line, but when Jordan Davis is out of the game, his one good quality is that he can just stuff the run because he weighs like 390 pounds. But when he's out of the game, we give up, I think, an average of like 1.2 yards extra per per carry.
Right.
So it just shows you like sometimes you got that big guy in the middle that really hides a lot of the deficiencies.
That's
why you get it.
Matthew says, sup, Tim and OBB family, hopping on late. What's up, Matthew? Ryan's Big Blue podcast says, scared for our run defense.
Oh, Ryan was the guy that was on Sunday, right?
Ryan was on Sunday. Yeah. Not that you guys aren't professionals, but this Sunday, I'm not going to say who yet, but we are going to, like last Friday, we had on someone, we're going to have on a former NFL running back on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Former, I'm not going to say who yet because I got to get it all confirmed, but he was.
It's Eric Gray, isn't it?
No, this. You know, it's funny because that would be a former running back because he's not going to be on this team anymore. But yeah, we're definitely actually a all-pro running back, multiple 1,000-yard rusher. So we're very excited to have him on. But like I said, we just need to confirm the time and the date, and we'll make sure I get that out to everyone either on Thursday and Friday. But Trenton, I'm going to drop you off because I got to get out of here, and I want to talk to James a minute because I really didn't get a chance to talk to James.
See ya.
All right,
brother.
Coming on, brother. He jumps off quick. He jumps off quick.
He doesn't want to waste time with us lowly giants.
I know. No, it's not. It's not Tiki Barber. This person.
Tiki Barber.
This person did not play for the Giants.
I would love for you to interview Tiki Barber. So now that I've got you here,
I got the question. People, hey, listen. You know what? It has been almost a month, and I haven't gotten fired by Believe. So all those people that said to me that I would be fired within the first week, I'd be fired within the first 2 weeks. Fuck you. I made it this far. No, actually, I said I was going to be fired in 9 days.
I think they meant when the season starts and then you actually really start letting loose. It's like when the games actually start, it's like, well,
right now I'm in my own OTAs.
Yeah, you're doing good right now because it's just like you said, they're just out there in shorts and shirts. It's all good.
I'm on my own OTA right now, but I want to talk about the Knicks.
Man, disappointing.
Where do you think I like that in black. Get the whole logo thing. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, it looks dope.
That does look good. It's the professionalism. Where do the Knicks go?
Giannis.
Do we go into no, I know that. We're gonna strip our team down even more, give up more assets to get a 30-year-old Giannis. But that's when I got a headache with that. God, you literally just gave me a fucking headache with that. Oh my God, why'd you put that out there? But where do we go? Who's out there? Do we head into the college ranks? That maybe a guy that has some pro experience but has been successful in college? Do we go with a college coach? Do we find a retread? I mean, what's out there, James? I can't even think what's out there to even start the coaching search.
Well, since I am here in home base in New York, I still like to listen to the radio a lot, and I am into conspiracy theories, as you know, since we are in the garage, or I'm in the garage. But what I'm hearing is newly fired coach of the Denver Nuggets, not newly fired, but recently fired, Mike Malone. He is down his affiliate CAA agency.
Oh, yeah, he's represented by Leon Rose's son, isn't he?
Something like that. So, as Ghostface said, keep Wu-Tang money all in the family. I would hire the guy that works with my guy, who knows my guy, and he has championship experience. I'm pretty sure he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Other than him, I don't know. I heard some people say go after Jay Wright. I don't see him leaving to come here. I heard somebody else say, no, Jeff Van Gundy. No, that's not happening. Just for people who want to say, I love Jeff.
I was like, what about Jeff Van Gundy? We haven't had a good Jeff Van Gundy sighting in forever. Evidently, he still has the same car.
I think Jeff is enjoying retirement. Honestly, I think he's good.
Malone?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Mike Malone, Matty Ice, because the CAA connection and just little things I'm hearing on the radio. And again, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm hearing. Frank Vogel, nah.
No,
he's not. He's not gonna. We don't have the right type of team for Frank Vogel to. Nah, again, we need somebody that's actually like. One thing about Mike Malone that I do like about him is he's not afraid to just call it like it is, and he'll get in some. Hey, Cat, that's the second time you missed that assignment. Oh yeah, I know, Coach. No, I know. I'm letting you know that I know. I don't know what they're gonna do with the Cat thing because he's such an enigma of a player. Let me shoot back at you. What do you think? I think Mike Malone is going to be the coach, but what do you think we're going to do about the Cat situation? You think we're going to keep him, or you think we're going to try to move him and Bridges or something?
I think they're going to try to move him, and I worry about the Giannis thing because to get Giannis, you're going to have to gut the starting lineup more, and we're going to have to give up more first rounders or swap first rounders, and we don't have a bench as it is. So
No.
you're going to move assets to get him that if you potentially wanted to get some bench pieces that you could move, and we're going to bring him in, and then we're going to deplete at least one spot in the starting lineup and probably at least 2 spots on the bench. I mean, if it was me, and like I said, I did a video today, I would have ran it back one more season. I would have said, okay, listen, you know you beat before the Tatum injury, you beat the Celtics. It's not like you weren't beating Boston. You can beat Boston. But you just need to figure out a way that when you go up against these more younger athletic teams that run 10 deep, you got to find a bench scorer. We need a rebounding enforcer as well. And you need at least, and maybe it's right, I don't know, but you need at least one more 3-and-D guy coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Because
we need it. Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with McBride. McBride is a nice player, but McBride, he does a lot of things well, but nothing great.
We need another creator. It's like, so too many times I saw Brunson dribbling into the sideline, dribbling into a corner, because everybody else it's hot potato. Just give it to Brunson. Give it, like, Hart doesn't know how to dribble. Bridges doesn't know how to dribble. It's like, I don't know.
We have a ball dominant point guard who is not known as a facilitator. And to your point, one of the things you can say about Emmanuel quickly was, yeah, he can heat up quick, but he could distribute the ball.
Yeah, he would actually try to. Like,
he was a perfect 6-man. Now I know he's starting in Toronto, but he was a perfect 6. I still think he's a perfect 6-man because you can still play him 25, 30 minutes a night off the bench, but he's a scorer and a facilitator, which is what we're lacking on the bench.
Yeah, and he had that herky-jerky, like, create that punch and instant offense.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, if we're going to keep Towns, then whatever coach comes in has got to get all 3 of them in a room and say, you guys got to learn 3 words: pick and roll. It doesn't make any sense to have both of you guys on the floor at the same time. And Towns, you just want to stand back here or in the corner, and Brunson is doing all the, and I get it, but you never work together. He'll do a pick and roll with Bridges, Hart, Robinson, use Towns, 2-man game. End of the game, it shouldn't just be Brunson going 1-on-5, 2-man game.
Yeah.
It's like simple basketball. We got to get back to regular basketball.
You're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We just, and like I said, maybe that's one of the reasons, like I said, because, well, first of all, I also think that Thibodeau is not a tactician.
No,
I mean,
he's not.
He doesn't look at what's in front of him and make the necessary adjustments. And I think that's one of his biggest, that's all in the last 5 years, that has always been one of his biggest issues.
No. How many times can you remember him calling a timeout and then us actually coming out with a really well-run set play other than just giving the ball to Brunson?
You know what people don't talk about? The last 2.5, almost 3 minutes of that first game, how many timeouts did we have left?
I think a couple. 2. I want to say at least 2. No, we didn't have none. Oh, because he used them on challenges. He sucks at challenges too, kind of. That's another thing.
He had 0 during those runs. He had 0 timeouts with like
he's not. Yeah, nah. It's like adjustments. Only a weak man adjusts.
It's like back in the day with Joe Judge and Pat Shermer and some other coaches in the McAdoo. We never made the Giants under Parcells and Fossil were known for halftime adjustments. The Giants would be losing or not doing what they do. They would get in that locker room and look like a totally different team in the second half.
Yeah.
We just don't have that.
No, we go into the half, come out, and let the team go on an 8-0 run. It's like, I'm telling you, there's been time. That game, was that the game 3 against Boston too? How do you come out that flat?
I don't know.
How do you come out that flat? You're up 2-0. You came back from 2 20-point leads on their floor, and you come home and lay the goose egg? That's not good.
You like I kept telling you, especially early in the playoffs, I don't want the deciding game to be at home because what were we 1-4?
Yeah, our home record was ridiculous.
On closeout games over the last couple seasons.
Like you don't like. Go ahead.
24. Like he was what was his winning percentage? It's 579 was his winning percentage of 579, but his playoff record with the Knicks is 24-22.
Yeah, well, you gotta remember those first 2 years. What was it? Atlanta, and then who else?
We had one.
We got swept, right?
So
you know,
it's not like he's got this stellar playoff record.
No, and then a lot of his, you got to remember he did have Derrick Rose and all of them when he was doing good before. I think it's going to be Mike Malone, man. I'm more, like you said, worried about is it are they going to try to go for Kevin Durant?
I don't need a bald-headed 40-year-old Kevin Durant. Because again, you're gonna lose at least one starter and probably 2 bench pieces.
What if he's cheaper than Giannis?
Like I've said it before, if garbage is cheaper than trash, I still don't want either one of them. So no, Mark Jackson's never been the head coach of the Knicks.
No, and that's not happening either.
That's not after what happened in Golden State. That guy's never getting another fucking job.
Yeah, and even though he deserves a job, Sam Cassell is not the guy for either for us.
Yeah, they both deserve a job. Like I said, the other ones that people were throwing at was Dan Hurley. He was what was it? A couple after they went back-to-back championships at Connecticut, didn't he? He almost went to the Lakers.
Oh, right. I mean,
I think he had to deal with the Lakers, and then just said no after he kind of quit after that. So now I'm going back to college.
I think if they figure out if they're going to keep this core together, like you said, or if they're going to try to make a trade, I think that also is going to matter on who the coach is. What set of players, because again, Towns, the guy is so talented, but that don't mean a hill of beans, to be honest, at times. It's like a beautiful woman or a gorgeous dude. Like, yeah, okay. It's like after a while, it's like, what does that mean? Because the guy the common sense factor of the game with him, the rotations, the just turning around, being in the right spot, every time he goes in the lane and gets hit, he's looking for a foul, and then he stops and he's doing this, and the play is going down the other way. You want to hear a crazy stat? Between this Eastern Conference Finals and the Western Conference Finals last year on Minnesota, he has blocked 1 shot. Uno.
I can believe
for a guy, if you're 7 feet tall, you should be able to block a shot by accident. So he should, it's like a tall guy. Oh, he got the rebound. I would hope so. He's 6'10".
I would hope so.
But he only blocked 1 shot. Like if you think about it, even in these playoffs, it's like there's times he tried to play D, but I don't remember him blocking no shots.
Yeah. And to Jay Ferris's point, Mark Jackson worries. The thing with Jackson and the Warriors was the Warriors as a team after Jackson got fired, the next season they went on their championship run. The Warriors as a team gave Mark Jackson a championship ring. The roster gave him a championship ring.
Yeah.
Kerr and everyone loved Mark Jackson. It was just Mark Jackson had issues with upper management and ownership. Mark Jackson, and he doesn't get enough credit for this. He helped build that championship team that went on the run that they did for all those years over in Golden State. It's Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr gets the credit for being the genius, but Mark Jackson is actually that put all the pieces together for those runs in Golden State. But he doesn't get the credit for it. And Steve Kerr has evidently said, he never gives Mark Jackson credit, but everyone else on the roster was just like, they were upset that Jackson got fired. And they gave him literally the team gave him a championship ring because of the fact that that's how much he was respected by his own players.
That's kind of like, and I'm glad he got one later with the Colts, but Tony Dungy with the Buccaneers, and he obviously was there longer, but he was there. He stepped out. They brought in Chucky, followed the same blueprint basically with a little, added Chucky here and there tweaks. Went to the Super Bowl, but I'm glad that Tony got one, finally later with the Colts.
Got it with later. Guys, you know what? We're gonna check this out because I actually have to go upstairs. I want to talk to James a minute offline. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Like I said, this was kind of just a spur of the moment stream. We'll probably won't have any other videos or streams or anything until Sunday. There'll be some shorts here and there. So I want to thank everyone that's been in the chat. I want to thank Trent Wright for coming on. I want to thank James for coming in as always. And once again, follow us on the Believe Network. Follow me on Online Big Blue 1 on Twitter and all that fun stuff. That's all I got.
It's all good.
The professional in me says good night and good luck.